What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Today we're continuing with the GTA 6 tutorial series, and in this episode we will set up the sprinting animations. It's going to be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is grab our two sprinting animations. In this case, in our game, right now we have two states. We have unarmed, right, when we are just walking around, right, and just jogging in this case. And then of course, when we have our rifle. So now, when we press, left shift, we should basically go ahead and sprint. And depending on the state, play a different animation. So let's begin with the rifle one. In this case, we have the sprinting animation with rifle on the anim starter pack, which we imported at the beginning of the series. And if we go down, you will see that here we have the sprint forward rifle. So let's just right click and go to retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget. You select the eye care retarget from UE4 to UE5. So we will convert this animation to the new mannequin skeleton, and then let's go into the characters folder, go to animations and select locomotion, and then we can just say actually not in locomotion, sorry, I confused with the normal locomotion, right? In this case it would be rifle. Okay, now yes, let's go ahead and click retarget, and here we have it. Just go ahead and sprinting normally on here. We can double click to take a look at the animation. Nothing crazy, looks pretty cool. So what we are going to do right now is just open up the blend space, right? Because right now our max speed is 500, which is this jogging. But now, when we're sprinting, our max speed will increase. And to how much? Well, we will see. Let's just begin by putting around 700. So of course, the jog will stay at 500 where it is. But now we need a new, sprinting animation, which is going to be this one, and it's going to be right at the, end where the speed is now 700. As you can see now, this will go ahead and transition like so. So with that said, now we can close this, and if we press play, everything will be the same when we equip rifle, because well, our speed of the character is indeed still 500. So let's also quickly, before setting up the logic of the input and everything for sprinting, let's go ahead and also set up the unarmed sprinting animation. So let's go to the characters folder, animations, click on locomotion on the locomotion folder, and then basically you're gonna go ahead and just import this sprinting animation that I will be linking in the description. And then we can just go ahead and select the skeleton. What skeleton? Well, let's go ahead and search for mannequin. We want the SK mannequin for Unreal Engine 5, not 4, okay? Like always, click reset to default just in case, and just now click import. And now we have this sprinting animation where it's just kind of going. So make sure to just right click on enable remotion, and it will just make sure that it is staying in position. Good. So with that said, we also want to increase our blend space for our normal locomotion to be up to 700 on maximum speed, and then just get our sprint animation, which in this case will be the normal one, into 700. And now yes, with that we should be good to go, and everything should work if we now set up the input and increase the character's max speed. So to do this, first of all, let's create a new input. So let's go to the inputs folder, right click, input action, let's call this IA underscore sprint, right? And now we just need to add this new input action to the IMC. So let's just add one more here, which will basically be sprint, and then we're gonna go ahead and set up the left shift. So if we now save, we can leave everything as default. Also the shift can be left by default as a deal to bool, because it will be, well, true or false. Are we sprinting, are we not, are we pressing the key or not? And now we just need to set up the logic up in the BP player blueprint. So let's go ahead and open this up, and let's just find a nice spot for our sprinting. So in this case, let me just go down. Okay, we will also make some comments to organize this as we go with the series, but let's go ahead and just right click, ia underscore sprint, and boom, this first node, which will contain the started and also completed. So once we start pressing the shift key and once we stop pressing the shift key. So in this case, what I'm going to do is go ahead and just, make a new boolean, which will be something as is sprinting. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and put this like this, and we can just drag it here. So on started, we would basically set sprinting to true, and then on completed, which is when we stop pressing the key, we would set sprinting to be false. On top of that, what we would do is get the character movement component and set the max walk speed to be the value that we want. In this case, as you may remember, by default right now it is at 500, and we increased the blend space to be at 700 where our animations are. So let's go ahead and just put 700 on there. But in this case, for the stop sprinting, it will be back to 500, which is the default one. And make sure to remember to connect the character movement component node into the target here to work correctly. And now with that said, you would actually see that if I press play and start walking and press the left mouse shift, you can see that we start running. Now there's a problem with the running animation for Unarmed, but if we equip the rifle for this one, it works very, very well. Now maybe it's, it's a bit too, exaggerated, so we'll, play around with some things in a second. So first of all, let's kind of reduce the speed of the running with the rifle. So in the animations rifle folder, let's double click on sprint, and then just put the rate scale, which is kind of the speed of the animation, to be around 0.8, something like that, so it will be a bit less exaggerated, right? And then we are going to go to the characters animations locomotion folder and just open up sprint, and then in the enable root motion we have a thing which is the force foot lock, and that in theory should go ahead and just kind of lock the sprinting animation. There we go. And now we just sprint as normal and the character will not go crazy. As you can see now, this is working. It will also work with these here sprint, and also it looks pretty cool, right? And it's looking pretty nice. And you can see that kind of when we go from one speed of 700 to 500 very quickly, it kind of goes without a good transition. It's very stiff. So for this, let's open up the animation blueprint. In this case, it's going to be for the unarmed locomotion, the normal one. And I am going to go ahead and find where the wait speed is. Now we can put something as 10. And this will basically smooth out a bit the animations slightly, okay? So if I go and run and stop running, you can see that now it is indeed a bit better. So we will do exactly the same thing with rifle, right? Double click here, go to the weight, which is actually here, speed, put this to around 10, press play, equip our rifle, and start sprinting, stop, and boom. It is way nicer, and you can increase that value to a higher number to have a better transition, but in this case I think it works pretty good, honestly. And one last quick little thing which I'm going to do is just add the footsteps, right? So right now, for example, we go to the jog forward rifle, we have this footsteps. So let's copy the name notify with Ctrl+C, and let's go into the sprint, and basically let's find the point where we gonna put our feet around here, select the notify and paste it. Okay, so we are basically just going ahead and also adding some footsteps on this animation, right? So it looks and sounds how it should. Okay, with that said, we should be good to go. Let's do the same with the unarmed, okay, which is on sprint, and let's also find the place where we put our feet on here, which is around here, then also around here, then also around here, and the same here. It's kind of a long animation. They actually could have done a bit shorter and more repetitive, but it's okay. And boom, we have all of the footsteps working. If I now press play, it works perfectly. Okay, great, Cool. So that's it, guys. So if you found this video helpful, I'd would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. I have lots of Unreal Engine 5 videos and tutorials, so check them out. Remember, they have full access to the project files through Patreon or YouTube members. Join my Discord server to talk with me and to other devs. Check out my new course with Game Dev TV and how to make a stealth game in Unreal, link in the description. Follow me on my socials. And now, yes, with all that said, bye bye.